Hi guys, welcome to this new demo where I'm going to demonstrate basically how to sketch cones. So cones are something in between pyramids and cylinders. So first of all, in the top view, how do cones look like? Well, it depends. If it's a vertical cone, it will look like a circle. So circle kind of like this. Make sure you have the center. But if the cone is tilted to an angle, then it depends. Usually a cone could be pretty much looks like a triangle. What if the cone is again not vertical but tilted, but it's kind of touching the ground? In that scenario, it's going to look pretty much like this. Something like that. If you notice, for horizontal cones, actually, it's not so precise, but I'm just gonna fix it like this, okay? So again, for the vertical cone, all you need is basically you need just to identify the center. When you sketch horizontal cones, again, what we did was to sketch the axis first, 90-degree line, and then I have just started the major axis of the ellipse that is going to drive how to sketch the position of the ellipse, basically. Okay, I'm gonna start from the easiest one, which are the vertical. Same thing as we did for cylinders. The first thing that you need to sketch is a vertical line, which is your axis. The second thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to sketch a horizontal line. It's excuse me, I wanted to say a perpendicular line to the axis. And this is going to be the major axis controlling the angle of the ellipse that I need to design. How wide is it going to be? Well, it's up to you really. I could keep it very short, and this is going to be how big my cone is. But if I want to have something bigger, I can just make it bigger. Okay? The next step is to identify on the axis where do you want the vertex to be. It could be here, could be here. Up to you really. If I want a very short cone, I can end it up like here. But remember, in this case, vertex is under the horizon line, which means that in this case, I'm gonna see the top of my object. If I move the vertex above the horizon line, I wouldn't be able to see the top of the cone, okay? And then this part is just lighter, and I don't want to make it with too much contrast. That's pretty much my cone. So as you can see, sketching cones, it's pretty fast. I think it's always a good idea to add somewhere else another section. Like if I'm gonna add one here, I will keep this very thin. So that's my cone. What if we want to sketch a cone like this? Again, a horizontal cone. In this case, the axis is expected to be a line parallel to the ground. So I'm going to identify a vertex. I'm going to sketch an axis like this. Perpendicular line to the axis. Here I'm going to sketch an ellipse. I'm going to identify a vertex. And from that vertex, I'm going to connect this straight line in order for it to be tangent to the ellipse that I just did. So as you can see, this is a tangent point. This is a tangent point. In this case, the base is fully visible, so I'm just going to use design lines for everything. I'm going to go back and mark my outlines like this. Okay. I believe that my ellipse is too thin, so I think it deserves to be a little bit wider. Yes, I think this is much better. And it could be even wider in my opinion. As you can see, in this case I kind of did a mistake. But I usually don't like to delete my lines. I kind of prefer to keep my mistakes. Okay? And this goes back to that idea that it's usually good to sketch an ellipse that is pretty much 60%. You don't want to sketch something thinner, otherwise they usually look kind of off. Okay? So I'm going to delete, in this case, just not to make confusion, but I'll basically save the outline that I just did. Great. What if I want to sketch another section in this cone? 90-degree line, and here I'm just going to sketch a pretty wide ellipse, and now I'm just going to sketch an ellipse, and I'm going to exaggerate the darkness in this part here because that's the visible part. I still believe that my ellipse here isn't wide enough. I think it should be wider. I'm just going to, stretch it a little bit more. That's pretty much how it should look like. Great. What if we have to sketch a cone that actually is kind of tilted? In that case, it's an even more extreme scenario. But basically, you need to identify a point, a vanishing point touching the ground in this case. 90-degree line. I'm going to sketch an ellipse like this, and now tangent the ground like this. It's going to look pretty much like this. So if you notice, in this case I just did put the vanishing point on the ground. And I'm just going to outline the design lines of my cone. I also like to add another section line and sketch an ellipse which is smaller, of course, and wider than the first one that I did. So the difference between these two is that in this one, the cone is having the vanishing point in the horizon line. It's actually here. But in the last one that I did, the vanishing point is straight to the ground. And you know why? Because in the side view, check what happens. So again, side view. One cone is looking like this. So the axis is parallel to the ground, but the other one is having the axis that is touching the ground. So this one is this, and this one is this. And of course, this one is going to be the typical cone like this. Okay? Great.